Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do the types of sentences. So in the last video, we did the types of sentences based on their expression, like whether they were declarative, interrogative, imperative or exclamatory. But today we are going to do them on the basis of classification of their construction, that whether they are a simple sentence or a compound sentence, a complex sentence, or lastly, a complex compound sentence. So, we are going to make it simple and we are going to revise our topic and make sure that it is on our tips. So, let's get started. So, when it comes to the sentence types, so first and the most easy type is our simple sentences. Now, what is the meaning of a simple sentence? That it has a subject, it has a verb, it has an object, and that's it. It's a simple sentence which is meeting our criteria of subject, verb, object order, and also it has the subject and predicate, and our basic sentence construction is complete, and it contains no conjunction, that there is no and, but, or, because, nothing is there. It's a simple sentence, it is giving one piece of information, it is one statement. For example, Frank ate his dinner quickly. Peter and Sue visited the museum last Saturday. Are you coming to the party? So now notice one more thing, that it doesn't matter whether it's declarative or whether it's interrogative. So the expression can be anyone. It can be declarative, it can be question, it can be command. Just our criteria is now construction, that what is the sentence made up of. So there shouldn't be any conjunction and it should follow the SVO order. Now coming over to the next type, which is a compound sentence. Now compound sentence contains two statements that are connected by a conjunction. Now you can say that a compound sentence is directly an opposite of a simple sentence. In simple sentence, one statement, okay, and no conjunction. And in compound, two statement and yes, there is a conjunction. For example, I want to come, but it was late. Now, what do we mean by two statement over here? That there are two pieces of information. First statement is that I want to come, and second is that it was late. Now we have two infos over here, and we are connecting them using a conjunction which is but. That I wanted to come, but it was late. All right. Now moving on. Next one is the company had an excellent year, so they gave everyone a bonus. Now similarly, so is the conjunction over here. The company had an excellent year is our first statement and they gave everyone a bonus is our second statement. I went shopping and my wife went to her classes. So and is the conjunction over here and we have the respective two statements. Now again in these particular examples, they were all why am I saying statement again? Over here statement doesn't mean the declarative sentence, it can, but over here we can have other expressions also, that one can be a statement and it can end in a question also, so it can be different also, don't worry. Next we have is a complex sentence. Now, complex sentence contains a dependent clause and at least one independent clause. The two clauses are connected by a subordinator, that is which, who, although, despite, if, since, etc. So first of all, I'll clear your doubt that what is a subordinator. It can be of two types. One can be a subordinating conjunction like since, if, although, and one can be a relative pronoun, which means which, who, that, who. We are gonna have another whole video on relative pronoun, so you can check that out. So continuing, now what is the meaning by dependent clause and independent clause? Now when we say that we have a sentence, we can generally divide it into two parts. Now there can be two pieces of information. Sometimes what happens that one piece of information, even if we remove it, then the rest of the sentence will still make sense. All right, for example, let's take this example only. My daughter, who was late for the class, arrived shortly after the bell rang. Now, in this sentence, if I remove this portion, that my daughter arrived shortly after the bell rang, even then the sentence is making sense, right? So that means that my daughter arrived shortly after the bell rang. This is an independent clause. It doesn't need anyone, it makes sense on its own. But the clause, this one, this is a dependent clause, because if we remove the rest of the sentence, this thing won't make sense. If I just tell the sentence that who was late for class, it won't make sentence. We need the whole information. That's why it is a dependent clause. So I think the query of dependent and independent clause is clear. Next we have, that's the man who bought our house. So over here, who is the relative pronoun, and in the first sentence also, who was the relative pronoun which we were using to join the two clauses. Basically we are connecting them. Now we can connect them with a conjunction also. For example, although it was difficult, the class passed the test with excellent marks. Now, although is a subordinating conjunction over here, which is joining the independent clause and the dependent clause. So over here we have two options. We have an option of relative pronoun also and subordinating conjunction also. But whereas in the compound sentence, we can only use a conjunction. We can't use a relative pronoun. Next, last one, coming to the compound complex sentence. Now, compound complex sentence contains at least one dependent clause and more than one independent clause. Now, what is independent clause? That is complete on its own. It makes sense. It doesn't need any other clause. But the dependent clause, that needs some other info to sustain on. The clauses are connected by both conjunctions and subordinators. Now it's like a mix up of compound sentence and complex sentence. Now we can use conjunctions also, we can use relative pronoun also, and we can use subordinating conjunction also. For example, John, who briefly visited last month, won the prize and he took short vacation. So here we have our relative pronoun also, our conjunction also. That's why this sentence is known as compound complex sentence. And again, John, who briefly visited last month, won the prize. He took a short vacation. So, short vacation is the independent clause, because if I connect John, John took a short vacation or he took a short vacation, this is one independent clause, right? And dependent clause, won the prize. Briefly visited last month, again one more independent clause. So that's the criteria, that we need to have our independent clause. More than one can be there, but one dependent clause should be there. So Jack forgot his friend's birthday, so he sent him a card when he finally remembered. Now so is the conjunction over here. And last one we have, the report which Tom compiled was presented to the board, but it was rejected because it was too complex. So that's what we have done in compound complex sentences today. I hope that it's clear, and you can drop down your queries in the comment box. Thank you.